Chilina Kennedy is currently giving some kind of wonderful performance at the Sondheim Theatre on Broadway. We're here today at the Bitter End, New York's oldest rock club, to talk to the leading lady of Beautiful, the Carole King musical. So Chilina, thank you for doing this today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We're in the Bitter End.
I know, it's so exciting.
Which of course is in the show, isn't it? It's in Beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yes.
And how is it featured?
Well, we discuss it in one of the scenes in Act 2, and then we actually do a number there. Should I reveal what the number is?
I think you should, yes.
Okay. Well, the number is from the Tapestry album. It's Too Late. It's performed at the Bitter End.
So it's stunning. Everyone has a little teary moment. I had a bit of a teary moment, I think, when I saw it on stage anyway.
It's one of those shows. It's so personal for people because I think people have such great relationships and personal relationships with that time period in their lives and with that album, especially the Tapestry album.
Now, you obviously made your Broadway debut in Jesus Christ Superstar in 2012, playing Mary Magdalene. How has it been being back in New York?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love this city. I always, I tell my friends back home, I'm not really a city girl. Like my house is in a small town in Canada. But if I was going to pick a city in the world to live in, it's here. I love New York.
Now, you obviously leading lady at Stratford for many years, doing many big shows. What's it like leading a show on Broadway? I mean, is it a huge difference or not so much?
I've been saying this for a long time because I think it's true that no matter where the work is the work, whether it's in a small town or it's on a big stage or a small stage, the integrity, is still the same. What you're doing, the actions you're playing are still the same. So, sure, it's on a much different scale to be leading a Broadway show and there's more pressure, but the work is the same.
Now, is it true that you were always sort of in the mix to play Carole King sort of early on? Is that right?
Some things work out, some things don't. I got, I ended up doing a wonderful show in Canada, and so I was completely tied up when final auditions were happening. So, who knows? But I was in love with the script from the beginning, from the first reading, where I read a script and just thought it had so much potential, and it was a wonderful way to tell that story.
Now, you've taken on the role of Carole King, who's an icon, obviously, and you took over from Jessie Mueller, who won the Tony for it, and that's notoriously difficult. And you seem to have done it seamlessly.
Oh my gosh.
Sort of like a swan, you've glided through. How did you manage that?
Well, like we were, saying, there's a lot of pressure, and I mean, I love Jessie in the show. I thought she was,
So you saw her do it?
I did, yeah, and I think she's great. I think everybody's great. It's kind of like being up there with thoroughbreds. Everyone's very good at what they do, and so I couldn't really think too much about what I was doing. I think I would, if I'd actually processed, the size and the pressure of what I was doing, I think I probably would have gotten in my head. But I really tried to stay as focused as possible. I mean, I have a baby and a partner at home, so that really helps to keep you sort of grounded and not all about you. But I think what Jessie did so beautifully was she really allowed Carole to go through her, to move through her as a person. She wasn't doing a caricature of Carole. She was doing an interpretation. So I took a bit of a page out of her book and tried to just let it be, let her come through me, and that was enough,
And is it true that Carole King has approval on all the carols?
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Did she see you, or was she watching a little video screen? How does that work?
Well, they videotaped my audition. I was terrified of actually coming in for Carole King herself. But no, they videotaped me and sent it to her. It's funny, actually. I was 33 weeks pregnant when I did my final audition for her. And I was so convinced about all the piano. I mean, I played all my own music in the audition.
You're a singer-songwriter, aren't you?
I am, yeah. But I was very, very pregnant, and I was hoping that she could see past that. But of course, she's had 4 children, so who better to understand, that than Carole King. Anyway, so I flew back home. I actually went into early labor because of the plane ride and the stress. So I got home to my little house in Stratford, and I got a call on Monday morning from my agent. And so I was, answering the phone, and I was so excited, and he said, "Oh, hi, it's just, it's Bruce, and I wanted to ask a favor." And I was like, "Oh," I thought he was calling with the news. I was so disappointed. He's like, I'd like you to arrange a couple tickets for me. And I said, "Tickets to what?" He said, "To your opening on Broadway. You got the job."
Amazing.
And so exciting.
And since then, I mean, you've obviously now met Carole a number of times, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
And has she seen you in the show yet? 'Cause she's notoriously a little bit reluctant about coming in, isn't she?
Yes, I think she saw it with Jessie the first time, obviously. And then she came to see me, and I had an email from her in my inbox, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have an email from Carol Dash. I don't have any friends named Carol. Oh my God, Carole King is Carole King. And she said, you know, I hear you great in the show. I'm going to come see it. Do you want to know when I'm coming? And I said, please don't tell me. I'll have a heart attack. So she said, you know, she's coming sometime in April. So she surprised all of us, and it was wonderful. And then we did the Today Show and some other things.
So a lot easier than Tom Cruise, because apparently you had an interesting experience with Tom Cruise coming in to see you.
Oh my gosh, well he came to Mamma Mia when I was in Mamma Mia and sat in the front row. And so of course all the girls were, you know, could see him on the screen. It was hard to get out of your head. Did
you always know that you wanted to do musical theatre? I mean, when did you realise that this was the life for you?
I was the most dramatic little girl. I mean, all I wanted to do was be a ballerina and a singer and an actress, like all of it. So I thought, well, what better way to do it all than to put it all together and do musical theatre?
Do you remember your first Broadway show?
My
first
Broadway show. It was Cats. Yeah.
Cats?
Oh my gosh, I saw it with my best friend and my parents, and I freaked out. I just loved it.
Which cat did you want to be? Now, I remember the cat I wanted to be when I was little. Was there a cat that you wanted to be? Well, I always wanted to be the white cat.
I think probably the white cat would have been my choice too, but I also loved Grisabella. I mean,
the 11
kind of I mean, you know, it's the number, right?
It's the 11 o'clock number. Now, how old is your baby?
He just turned a year.
Okay.
So he's almost 13 months now. Can't believe it.
So a bit of time before you take him to his first Broadway show.
Yeah, a little bit. But he has actually, he was in the audience when I was rehearsing some of the Carol stuff on stage with the piano. And he saw a run-through of me when I was playing Mary Poppins in Canada. So he's actually seen a show before, which is crazy. I mean, it was a dress rehearsal, so, you know.
Didn't actually come in and see the show. No. Now, talk to me how you manage that. You're a young mum, you've got a young child. How are you juggling that with being on Broadway?
I have a wonderful partner who is a stay-at-home dad, and that's how I manage it. Because really, I couldn't do it without him, and without our, you know, help from our nannies and the wonderful people who take care of him.
Do you have a specific routine to get you sort of from mummy mode, Chilina, to Carol? I mean, is there something that you go through to get yourself into the headspace of having to do the show?
Yeah, well, I say it depends on the day. I mean, I like to come to the theater and do a physical warm-up, really get in my body, get more to a neutral place, so I'm not Chilina the mom or Chilina whatever. I'm become sort of a, you know, in a neutral place, and then I do a vocal warm-up, and I end up listening to a lot of Carol, a lot of, you know, Tapestry, a lot of James Taylor, a lot of, you know, whatever I'm feeling in the moment.
What's the best thing about your job right now?
Oh, what isn't the best thing about my job? Honestly, I mean, I don't mean to sound cheesy, but it's incredible. I think I would say probably my fellow castmates. We all really like each other, and I think that's very rare. I mean, people get along, but we actually really have like a kind of tenderness between us and a fondness for each other, and I think that's hard to find, and I love going out there with them every night. They give 110% every single time, and the understudies are fabulous. Everybody's great. It's like a family, and I mean it.
Now, we touched on it a bit before. You're also a singer-songwriter, aren't you? So have you got any of other projects in the works while you're in New York and Broadway?
I just shot my first music video, which was so cool. So that just happened the other day, and I'm trying to do a little bit of writing, but it's hard because I'm busy.
You're busy. You've got a lot on. Now, final question: what do you hope audiences take away with them from their experience at Beautiful?
Well, I hope that they understand a little more, well, a lot more about Carol's life, and I hope that the music touches them in a certain way, the way that it did with me when I saw the show. I mean, the story is so incredibly beautiful, and I was very moved by it. But I think that that specific time period and that music was so important. I hope people have a connection with that and the meaning of that in their own lives.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.